Time now for the voice of the land on the Big Play Network with your hosts, Kevin Arnold and Always Positive Jay.
At some point, we're going to get that open fixed. So
I was just thinking that. Oh, I think we all are like, just don't sound right anymore.
But this is the voice of the land. It's Always Positive Jay. It's Ryan Mosser. And we are, of course, brought to you. Well, we're part of the Big Play Network. We are brought to you by Greeny Sports Cards, partner with LPV Productions. And, today is going to be a bit of a shorter show. It's being pre-recorded. This is probably playing during the Cavs game as they face off against LeBron. We'll talk a little Cavs as we get into things, and we'll talk Browns from a football standpoint. Actually looked like an NFL offense. But guys, there's only one place that we can start, should start at any point with this, and that is the passing of Jim Donovan. You can see the emotions are still running raw a little bit. As guys, I know that we're all basically part of the generation where Jim was the voice of the Browns to us, and he will always be the voice of the Browns forever and ever, as other people take over and people move into that role or move out, whatever may be. Guys, I'll open the floor to you guys to share your thoughts on all this, memories or favorite call that Jim has ever had, or whatever you want to say. I have those kind of thoughts as well. But I want to give you guys the opportunity as well, because I've been around it. I've been putting things together to try to honor him the best way that we can. So I want to give you guys that opportunity as we record this on Tuesday night, play it on Wednesday night. So just so you know where the emotions are coming from, how far away we are from the news coming down on Saturday. Ryan, I'll let you start tonight, because I know that we're all feeling very similar about this.
Yeah, it's truly heartbreaking. Jim Donovan was the voice of not just the Browns, but the voice of the fans as well. He was a fan. He was a guy who invested his time, and he was so good. He could have done national things. He could have done things on big broadcast, but he decided to stay home, stay in Cleveland, where he loved. And it feels like a part of Cleveland fandom is kind of missing. It's really sad.
Yeah, the day it happened, I actually was working at the stadium that day, and I had just left, and maybe a half hour later, the news had broken. Tiffany's uncle, is a scoreboard engineer there, has worked there for a long time and knows Jim real well. I just reached out to him. I'm like, "Oh man, I'm really sorry about that." He's like, "Yeah, it's a lot different feeling up here than it was before you left." I'm like, "Yeah, I bet." I mean, that's he's the GOAT, man. He was the best. And then not just on the mic, but in life, he was one of the best people, from what everyone told me. I never got the pleasure of meeting Jim Donovan, but from what everyone told me, he's just an amazing, awesome person. And you could see it from every single broadcast for every NFL game on the radio for both teams. So all 32 cities all made mention, and that's a telling sign, like what kind of person he was. And I really give props to Coach Stefanski and Andrew Berry, who I've been rough on. This goes beyond what's going on in the team in the field. The fact that they went and brought that team ball to the family, Megan and his wife, and that was awesome. That was really awesome and touching.
This is, it hits home, just not just as fans, but, he's been dealing with leukemia on and off for a while. And it's a disease that took my mother's brother away. I mean, my uncle that I never got to meet. Any form of cancer sucks. It's still maybe hard to put into words, but like you guys said, like this is the guy that was the voice of our generation of being Browns fans, and I can just remember, and I replayed in my head, not even because this news happened. It's just been the way that I've been. That's how ingrained in sports I am. One of my first memories of Jim Donovan and being a Browns fan when they came back in 1999, like when I was actually cognitively able to, because I was born in 1991, so I was around for the 91 to the 95 season before they left. But I didn't know what was happening. I wasn't actually taking all of that in. But it was kind of a day like we've had recently with these like kind of somewhat cloudy, sunny fall day outside in the yard with my dad, my sister. We were raking up the leaves, and we had like the big boom box in the garage plugged in, and we were listening to the game. And it was
That's so, Kevin. I swear to you, I was doing the exact same thing with my dad the first time I ever heard Jimmy Donovan think, and it was the Saints game.
The Saints game. Of course, Tim Couch to Kevin Johnson, friend, colleague, teammate of mine, Gerard Cherry. Is involved in the play, but actually wasn't his fault. But the Hail Mary pass, and we just saw one from Jaden Daniels. We've seen some Hail Marys this year, but that's the one that kind of lives in infamy in Cleveland Browns lore, especially this new generation. And I heard that call, and it's just something hit different in that moment. And then you just continue as you get older to turn off the sound on the TV, and you put the call. Like, I know that now with streaming, like the calls weren't always together, but you guys get what I mean. To turn on the radio for the call instead of having the TV announcers, and there's plenty of great national TV announcers. There's been people like Mike Tirico, Ian Eagle, Kevin Harlan, like national guys like that. Because if you guys don't know, Jim Donovan was a national play-by-play guy. He did the NBC football. He was Chris Collinsworth. That was his first guy that he worked with, him being the color analyst. So he had some kind words. Tirico has worked with Jim Donovan before. He had worked at NBC Sports. He had done the Olympics, World Cups, everything you can imagine. But it's something different as a play-by-play person. And I can only speak from my experience, and it's a very much lower level, but not to disrespect the Cleveland Crunch, but to be considered the voice of a specific team. And I know that he's from Boston. I know that Jim Donovan was from Boston, guys, but he became a Clevelander when he got here and truly became a fan of everything here. So he was a fan like us, getting to live out his dream. Nathan Zagura, who is the color analyst on Browns Radio Network, co-host of Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland throughout the week, 1 to 3, he said like that's all he ever wanted to do. And even Jim told the stories, guys. I don't know if you guys heard these stories or not. He would literally go to the Garden, like to go watch Bruins and Celtics games. Took a tape recorder as a kid, recorded himself calling the game, sitting there, and then would send it to the play-by-play and color analyst of that time. And had guys like Bobby Orr say, like this is what you're meant to do. And there's never going to be another one like him. And I know that Andrew Siciliano has tough shoes to fill. That guy is world class as well in what he does and everything like that. And the way that they honored him during the game and everything like that, it just I know plenty of people have said this, guys, and kind of there's no easy transition into actual football, and sports is supposed to be the escape. But sports is also the great unifier, and for a team and a fan base that were kind of going against each other, it felt like everything that happened on Sunday was supposed to happen, and Jim was right there.
Oh, I don't know what you guys believe in, but Jimmy Donovan was on that field. Like, our angel was on the field that day. There's no way. There's too many things that just went our way that should not have went our way. And if one of them don't, you probably don't win that game. So, yeah, he was there, man. He definitely was there, and I agree. Like it was a win that everybody needed, like really, really bad, and it was for what was on the field and what was just not on the field. It was just everything more than that. Just good. It was a good day. Like I heard everyone say, like the day itself was even like beautiful and perfect weather and everything. So
yeah, and I if you take solace in anything, it's hard to do that. still. But he's not hurting anymore. And, the pain of losing a person like that. And I'm talking about the person. I'm not just talking about the public figure that he is here in Cleveland, the voice that he was to us, what he meant to us from a sports fandom standpoint. I'm talking about the person that you hear everybody talk about. A room just lights up. The first time you meet him, just a room just lights up. And I had a chance to meet him just a few months back for the first time. And I wish I could have worked with him more, because just getting into conversation immediately with me, somebody he doesn't know, has never heard of before, and is just willing to talk to me. And there's plenty of stories like that. And look, we can only send our best to Megan, his daughter, Cheryl, his wife, the family, colleagues, teammates, people that have worked alongside him, people that were friends, so many people that Jim impacted. What I want to make sure we iterate here tonight, guys, is he might be gone, but the phrase "gone, not forgotten," it's got to be there, especially for Jim Donovan. Like, you've heard, plenty of people have heard the stories of how he lived his life, how he interacted with people. We need to go forth, if we're going to honor him the best way, and we're going to keep him in our hearts. And that goes for anybody, that when you lose a loved one, the way that you continue to evolve as a person yourself, to take stuff from the good stuff from the people that we love, that we lose, and allow it to fuel your everyday life. Like, we need to take his kindness, his openness, his willingness to, reach out, whether you feel like you know the person or not, just and impact a room. If we can even do a percentage of what Jim was able to do, I think that is the best way to honor him.
I completely agree. And I recently just shared part of the reason I do this podcast is to honor my brother, who I lost. And he's always told me my whole life, like, Jay, you should do something with sports. It's such a passion for you. Like, you're great at it. You know it better than anyone else I know. And to honor him, this is what I'm doing. There's other people I've lost. And dude, I try to do the same thing. And you try to grow as a person from the person you have unfortunately lost. And Jimmy Donovan has plenty of those, and you could probably take any life lesson and tons of them from him.
Sure.
And I mean, again, there's no easy way to transition, but I mean, I feel like I can just hear Jimmy's voice saying, hey, don't worry about me. Like, you guys continue to talk about this stuff.
Like, he loved doing this. Like, he loved radio, and like podcast, I'd say, is pretty much radio now. And Kevin knows, like, had he been able to fully recover, he was going to be doing radio with Kevin would have been working with Jimmy Donovan. Like, he was looking forward to it. He loves this business. Like, he's a big passion about it.
Yeah. So definitely.
What was your guys' favorite call? Let's lighten it up a little bit, like, before we go, because he was a joyous person. Let's give me your guys' favorite Jimmy Donovan call.
My favorite one's actually not his joyous one, but I just like how honest he was, how critical he was of the team. Not many people can get away with that, and live to see another year, let alone 25 years. But guess what? He missed it with Cody Parkey is always stick out in my mind, because like that's what all Browns fans were thinking at that point. Like, the guy's double doink at the time, and he said what we were all thinking. I think that's really cool. I thought it was really funny. So.
I mean, I love the Chubba Wubba Hub. I know that's more recent, but for some reason that just sticks with me. And I feel like, while Nick Chubb is that type of person that Cleveland has gravitated to, I feel like Jim in that moment helped bridge a gap even more between the fans and Chubb, because Chubb still not much of a talker, but he's gotten better over the years. That was his rookie year. And, so we didn't hear much from him. We weren't getting the he gets us type thing, but in that call, you could feel what Jim knew about Chubb. It's three simple words, and they're not all actual real words, whatever, but they are, because Jim said them but you got so much more out of it, if that makes sense, guys. Like there was just so much more that came out of that again bridged that gap between fans and Chubb, and why he is so such beloved here in Cleveland.
Mine is gonna always be the only thing was missing was all of you. And now the only thing that's going to be missing is him. Because I mean that summed up that day, like the way that final call and just that last sentence was just the icing on the cake of that whole game.
Yeah, and you could hear the emotions in his voice. Just an amazing person, an amazing, a life that he lived, and again, someone to continue to, if you're a newer fan to Cleveland, or if you're part of the younger fan base, Gen Z or whatever, educate yourself, learn who Jim was if you didn't get a chance to do it, because I think you're gonna feel like you knew him, because there's so much out there to learn about him. And people that I know also loved Jim Donovan, and I think connected with him at times. Greeny Sports Cards, our partner here. Do want to make sure I mention them throughout. I mean, there's several live reads. I know we're going a little bit shorter, but I did see this come up on social media today while they were live at 7:00, and they're live every Tuesday on social media. So make sure you follow them and get all the details about events that they have coming up at greenysportscars.com. I saw their last show of the year is December 28th. That's a Saturday. That's going to be in Broadview Heights. Let me get the address here. That is the Woodside Event Center at St. Michael's, East Mill Road, Broadview Heights, Ohio. So make sure you guys get out there. They got other shows coming up before then, so go to greenysportscars.com to see where they're going to be. But this is going to be the last big one. Over 100 tables available of stuff that you can look at, the cards you can look into. So, and if you want to get involved, you want to have a table there, call or text 330-486-5159. That's 330-485-5159. And I know we had a contest going on.
Do you guys want to announce the winner?
Let's just do it now. I know that we could tease it and everything, but
if we tease it, I want to give it its time and its due, and I don't want to hold it to the end.
Right. Yeah, especially going shorter tonight. So I don't have a drum in front of me. Those are all packed away somewhere. So
do you want me to do a fake drum here?
I mean, like I can. I can roll them out. Like I can, yeah. I can't see. I can't, since I can't roll my R's. I can't actually do that. So you guys are gonna have to do that.
All right, I'm just gonna announce it. So this person, his name is Brick. He goes at Jake Brickman 14. He's the winner of the Miles Garrett's cards, courtesy of Greeny Sports Cards. Really grateful for Greenies to be able to provide these. Jake, I'll DM you tonight or tomorrow morning and make sure that we get in contact and we'll get those cards to you. Speaking of cards, we do have another contest that we started prematurely because of the return of Nick Chubb. But we have 5 Nick Chubb cards that are up for grabs right now. All you have to do is just no.
There's some good looking cards.
They're really cool. Yeah.
And like I said, I'm pretty sure most of them are rookie cards too.
Right, and there's even one college one, which is really cool. But no purchase necessary. All you have to do is go onto our Twitter. It's pinned there. Like, comment, retweet, and you're entered to win. And you could be just like Jake Brickman 14 and possibly win some really cool cards. We have some more contests coming up after this.
You can get an extra really awesome entry from me if you write a comment on why Bluey is not a good show.
No, you can't actually get extra entry if you go on to our
if you
Instagram.
Say something nice about Bluey, we'll give you an extra entry. But you got to be a watcher. If you're watching the show and you can say something nice about Bluey, because it's the only way you're going to find out. I got to be nice. So
yeah, we're tweeting that out and everything. And Ryan, if you want to DM him maybe tomorrow and tell him the announcement will play tomorrow night, no one else will know. We won't tweet it publicly until after this show
has played.
Yeah. But yes, if you just heard Jay with the extra entry, look, your de facto nephew.
No, it's funny.
He's going as Bluey.
Do you know what I'm playing tomorrow?
What?
Bluey Candyland. We ordered it. It's at our house. I have a Bluey Candyland set at my house now. Right. I got plates. every Thursday. It's on my TV now. It's
All right.
invading. It's invading my house.
Can we make a deal as a show right now? If we're getting into a point where like Cleveland sports is just like we just don't want to talk about what's going on, bring in that we just live stream us playing Bluey Candyland.
That's fine, whatever.
Deal.
Hey man.
I mean, dude, I've been around long enough to know there's days I don't want to talk sports at all. I'm like, dude, that day I wasn't feeling good. I think I was all messed up. You were out. You were doing the post game, and the Guardians had lost to the Yankees, and I'm like, all right, let's just call it. And I think I know Peter said he can't talk, but he's like, I'm kind of glad. I don't even want to talk sports tonight. Yeah. I'm like, no, I kind of don't either. Like, this job is not. It's not always easy. I promise you.
It's not easy.
It's fun. Most of the time it is, but there's days that I'm just so ticked off. Like, I don't want to talk about anything. I just want to play some video games or something and take my mind off it.
And trust
well, hopefully
me,
the Yankees get swept today too. So.
Oh, I've been enjoying trolling them back. How's their party? How's that party going there?
I haven't watched a pitch.
No, I haven't either. I just wake up and I just go, ha ha. And then I tweet at the Yankees and I'm like, how's your party going? I was just checking in because, ours ended and you like to point out how ours ended. I just want to see how your party's going now. So screw you, Skankies.
Yeah. Screw you, Yankees. A team that is, everybody thinks is like already turned a corner and they're only 2-6. But again, a very impactful, a very beautiful moments on Sunday, and apropos that game went the way that it did. The Browns with Jameis Winston at the helm. Do you want to talk a little bit about them? We'll get into the Cavs here in a second as well and preview the matchup against LeBron if we just expect to see Bronny play and forced into a game where he's probably should be playing in the G League to get himself going. But not to get my comments out there ahead of time. But just you guys, Jay, I'll start with you on this one. Jameis, it looked like an NFL offense out there. I know he had potential for like three or four picks in that game, but that's
big surprise, Kevin. A competent quarterback, and we scored over 20 points, and he threw for 300 yards again. It's kind of odd that this keeps happening. It's just weird. Let's just say I cannot have Deshaun Watson ever touch the field again. This has to cement it. And if these guys put him out there, this is horrible. Win, it was a win, and we should be happy. But someone pointed this out to me last week. Why did DTR start that game when it should have been Jameis Winston? And I swear to God, if we come up one game short, it's just gonna make my fuel to fire Andrew Berry even hotter. Like.
And the fact that they didn't hear about it until Friday, too. So he had no week to prepare.
GM, please stop meddling with who's playing on the field. That is bad business for your football team. I'm kind of ticked off about that.
Like when you text down the sideline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you're a GM, get the players, let the coach pick who plays. Like, dude, come on, you're doing too much. You're overstepping your boundaries big time. And what you're supposed to do, you're not even good at anyways.
Look, we know the stories are going to come out after the season about like where the dysfunction really happened, and maybe there's stuff during the bye week when there's more time for reporters to dig in.
Or when we watch Hard Knocks, that's going to be interesting. I keep forgetting that's coming out still, and I have HBO Max. I'm like, oh man, this is going to be crazy.
Oh God, I hope we don't have that subscription. I really do. I can't remember which subscriptions we have right now.
But you kind of wish you do, because if you have it, you're going to have to watch it.
I'll see all the clips on Twitter. Like everybody will repost all that stuff. Like, look, if people can post clips when WWE has to go through some tapings of their shows and they can't do it live, and the people that are sitting there post what's happening before I even get a chance to see it on TV,
I'll give you that. Because I'm pretty sure I watched the last Hard Knocks with the Browns without watching a single minute. I knew everything that happened.
Yeah, exactly. Like I didn't
watch a minute of it, and I know everything that happened. Yes. Ryan, what do you think about Cedric Tillman? Is that dude? Was this his coming out party?
I like Cedric Tillman. We'll see. It's been one game. I'm not gonna
I mean, he's
say
had
he's
two
the
good games now.
next wide receiver one. Well, yeah, okay, 2 good games, yeah, but let's see a little consistency. I mean, last year he wasn't too great. I think they're scheming him open. I think he does have the right tools to possibly be a wide receiver one. I mean, that's hard to usually not to say with any of Barry's picks, especially 3rd-round picks. But hopefully this one sticks. Hopefully we finally got a decent receiver out of the draft. So.
Do you guys think, and I know that it's a win, and to honor Jim Donovan, like we should be talking about the good stuff, but he's very open and honest, and he was very forthright about things. And again, like you said, Ryan, like he earned that right and earned the respect of the organization, the players to know that he still had their back, but he was going to tell them like it was, and he wasn't going to say anything on air that he wouldn't say to their faces. So they knew that, and that's why he was able to do that. Was that game more of an indictment on Deshaun Watson, Kevin Stefanski, or equal?
I'll go.
Go ahead, Ryan.
I think that this move that Stefanski gave up play calling was the only play that he could do where it is calculated in his favor. A lot of people, myself included, have been skeptical about Stefanski and his confidence at play calling and coaching. Some people love it, some people hate it. I was on the side of not really liking Stefanski at all and thinking that he was not a very good coach. I think that I publicly have said that I think last year Stefanski is the product of being incredibly lucky with Joe Flacco and right timing, and without that play, he would have been fired last year. Instead, he got an extension. I've warned fans that this could possibly happen when Watson comes back, and unfortunately, it has come to fruition. But the exact date that he gave up play calling is the exact date that our quarterback is gone. Now there's not even a week buffer where we could see where Stefanski's calling play calls without Watson if that worked. Now
do you think he gave up play calling, or do you think it was taken from him?
I think
Or
it was.
When I say taken, strongly
sure.
suggested.
I think it was strongly suggested. It could have been. I think, but nonetheless, I think he was not fighting to hold on to it because, like I said, this is the only play that he has where if things go right, if Jameis Winston becomes the guy and we go on a hot streak and our guys start playing with heart and just stop running around with looks like chickens with their heads cut off, these guys could win games. The AFC is wide open. Yes, we only have 2 wins, but it's wide open right now. There's a lot of teams that are 3-4 wins. We win this week against the Chargers, and we have the tiebreaker. A lot can happen, and I think that now that Stefanski gave up his play calling, he is free of possible blame because we don't know. We have no weeks without him and Watson together. So I think it was very smart, and it could work in his favor.
Jay?
I'm on the fence with what happened with that. Honestly, like with Stefanski, I'm not sure if he's a good coach, a bad coach. I think he's just kind of middle of the road, to be honest with you. So, personally, I think it had everything to do with Watson, though. I think Watson was not good. I think physically he was fine. He just mentally was not there. He's one of those people. He has to have people like him. He has to be in the good graces of everything. And when it's not there, it's like he a shell of himself. And I hate to say I don't root for injury, but I'm really glad he is gone.
Right.
Like it is a relief and a half. You could see it in the fans, you could see it in the receivers, you could see it in the way the players played. And it is what it is.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not rooting for Stefanski to be a bad coach. I hope we win. I hope this is successful. I think that this also could possibly help him tremendously. Now he has a giant weight lifted off his shoulders. Yes, he's come out publicly and said, "Oh, anybody can call plays. It's not that hard." But I don't know, buddy. Now now you can focus on the fundamentals of the game. You can focus on all the penalties, all these penalties that are happening. And focus on just coaching the game and not worrying about other things that other people can do. I think that's
the thing that annoys me about Stefanski is that I swear that dude will not. He doesn't learn from his mistakes because he's such a. He's a, what is he called? Process driven or something, and they just believe in the process and not the results or something. I don't know what it is. It's kind of annoying. I like where Stephen Vogt was like, you could watch literally Stephen Vogt in the playoffs learning from his mistakes in his rookie season. And that was his rookie season. This dude just like keeps doing some of the same dumb things. And it's like, dude, it keeps biting you in the ass and you're not, what are you doing differently to make things better? And we don't know because he doesn't say a damn thing to any of us because coaches aren't allowed to talk to us anymore. That's just annoying, and it's a whole nother subject.
Yeah. To your point, Jay, earlier, I mean, what happened to LeBron that first year that he went to Miami? He was hated, and he made a lot of mistakes that we weren't accustomed to seeing. If you just look at it from a general just standpoint, sports standpoint, how great of a player that he was. Yes, the vitriol from Cleveland was well warranted. Thank you. Like that'll get me every time. Like there's no way I can keep professional when my kids knock at the door trying to see me. But LeBron, like he made mistakes that you weren't accustomed to seeing making, like because he likes to be liked. And once people, just the general public, not people here in Cleveland, but the general public saw him go through that pain of what happened against the Dallas Mavericks, he became, a figure that you could root for again because of the way that he responded after that.
But he still was, playing amazing at the same time.
Yes, he was.
Watson has been on the field just straight hot garbage, man. And
because he never actually left the floor. Like he was consistently playing year in and year out. So add in the fact that Deshaun wants to be liked. He doesn't like to be hated, and he hadn't played in a while. So, like, all of his focus is on people hating him, and he's trying to prove them wrong instead of focusing on getting himself back to who he knows he is, just from a pure football standpoint. You guys know where I stood on Deshaun Watson and everything like that.
Oh, I know where his focus was. That was the problem.
Yeah,
it was. I don't think it was on the football field as much as people think.
So that game to me was more of an indictment. It was just added to the indictment on, from a sports standpoint, onto Deshaun Watson of how incapable he was to perform right now as a NFL starting quarterback than it is on Stefanski. Because I watched the game the week before, and I trust a lot of those commentators around these games, and you're seeing them break down the film in the moment. And there's guys open. When Kevin Stefanski was calling plays, there are guys at that next level that Deshaun wouldn't throw to, and Jameis just did, that were open.
And our offensive line, too. Wow.
Yeah, because they had confidence in, like, this guy isn't just going to just escape right away. He's gonna let things develop in front of him.
And he's not going to hold on to the ball for 4 or 5 seconds. Like, you got 3 seconds, dude. That's it. And that dude, every play, 4 or 5 seconds. 4 or 5 seconds.
And, I mean, DeJuan Jones played great at left tackle. His blind side was, for one of the first, few times playing in his career, NFL or college, he did a great job. Way better than Wills would ever do.
Wills is done. He's probably done.
He should have been done. He's only there because he's been a first-round pick. That's it.
I mean, it's
that's a nepotism pick. So,
I mean, there's plenty of holes in this team, but I know that Stefanski makes some of the same mistakes over and over again. And I get where you're coming from, Ryan, on not really liking Stefanski, but, hoping that you're wrong, like wanting him to still be a good coach for this team that we can hold on to for a while. Guys, I've seen this story so many times when the Browns maybe get like one win early and, then they start losing a bunch of games. Guys check out. Like the culture used to be guys check out. I'm sorry when I hear Rodney McLeod and Jerome Ford, like some of the ancillary players, the extra pieces, and even the stars of the team, Miles and Chubb and all these people, like they're going through this losing together, and yet it doesn't feel like they are losing hope. They're losing focus on what is ahead, and I hope that stays the case this week. And guys don't like.
It helps that the AFC is beating up on itself a lot. Like,
right?
Believe it or not. We're not out of it.
Nope.
We're far away from it, but we ain't out of it.
And I know that
I
we
can
say
sniff a
don't.
wild card.
Yeah, I know we say don't just talk about it, be about it. But I don't know. Like when I've heard these guys talk, like as they're going through the losing and then even coming out of this game, like the rejuvenation and stuff. I don't know. Like that's not a team that I feel like the coach has lost attention. Like, and it's a coach that they're not willing to play for. It's not just guys like monotone and saying the right thing just to say the right thing. Like there is, and maybe I'm misreading it. Maybe you guys want to say I'm totally wrong. That's totally fine. But I hear
You're totally wrong.
I hear this passion. I hear this energy in what they're saying, and it's not just to repeat what Coach said. It's taking it a step further, and guys like trying to pick each other up, hold each other accountable, and not just let it fall on their head coach. Like I don't know. Like that's not a guy to me that has lost the locker room, can't coach or anything like that. Maybe it's just better for him to be the CEO right now, and reassess things later. But look. He was scheming guys open, and the quarterback wouldn't throw. He was too afraid to throw it.
Or you step outside the pocket and get destroyed.
I can criticize Stefanski for plenty of things. I can criticize Andrew Berry for a lot, but I cannot hold what Watson is doing against them because I know Stefanski can coach quarterbacks. It's just it wasn't going through to Watson. He's worked with every other style quarterback. It's worked with everybody outside of Deshaun Watson. I don't know. I can't say like I'm not going to the extreme of like Kevin Stefanski should be fired at the end of this year. I just think he's been dealt is just kind of being maybe too much of a yes man.
But I don't know. I feel like he was a part of that. I don't know if he was dealt with it. I mean, he went down and met with him just as long as Barry did. I mean, I don't know who was necessarily involved in convincing Haslam. Reports say that Haslam had to be convinced because Baker was his guy. They adored Baker. I mean, that's obvious.
I don't know.
These are all behind closed doors speculation.
I don't think homie's out of blame.
If we knew, it would be a lot different conversation. But
I'm just wondering where the accountability is. Like we have the worst trade in sports history and nothing's being done. It's just like, oh, oops, oh well. Like
you know who that starts with? You know where that accountability starts?
Yeah.
Ownership.
Yep.
Like there could be reports that that was Haslam's guy and stuff like that. I don't believe it for a second because they stood up there. They talked about how they talked to their daughters and things like that. They made it seem like the field stuff didn't matter. And all they've done since is announce plans for what's in Brook Park and this new, and it's great stuff that's happening. I'm not against going to a dome, and I'm not against the impact that project they announced today in Berea. But again, it's the art of, magicians. It's the art of distraction. Yeah. Like getting people on their side because they are going to build this big facility and have a bunch of concerts and all that stuff. And they're going to build shops and residents in Berea, like where they took down homes, like they're bringing residencies back. And like, yes, that's all well and good, but you haven't answered to all of this other stuff. So I go to the top. I have never been a fan of the Haslams. I'm just glad they didn't ruin my soccer team. And the crew can keep winning MLS Cups. I know that they were struggling tonight. The soccer team. Well, they did save the soccer team, but they've let the soccer people deal with that down there. Yeah. I think we don't hear from them like Jerry Jones. Just weird feeling, and that's probably jaded Browns fan. This quiet meddling that just not right. Now, an owner that has brought us a championship and continues to push the button to do so as we kind of wind things down here. Of course, again, we're brought to you by Greeny Sports Cards. Make sure you go over to greenysportscards.com. Get all the information, all their events. They also are the largest, help create some of the largest sports card shows. They have 4 locations, but greenysportscards.com gets you all the information, and make sure to check out in Broadview Heights, December 28th, the last show of the year. Over 100 tables already scheduled to be there at that show. If you've ever been to one with Greeny Sports Cards, it is absolutely amazing. They got plenty of basketball cards, and our basketball team, they've just got things started. We don't want to overreact, but got a really good win in New York last night. And after playing some duds of teams to start the year, doing what they're supposed to do, they were able to come back in that game, and the lights weren't too bright as they were in a playoff series. And this team will ultimately be judged, guys, on what they do in the playoffs and how these guys perform. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Couldn't hold that
tight.
But it's good to see a different mentality from Evan Mobley and the real Darius Garland. I feel like we're seeing now versus what we saw last year. Jay, I mean, you're wearing your Cavs shirt. Just your thoughts on this team, what Kenny Atkinson can bring, and how do they? It's been great for 4 games. There's going to be games they lose. There's going to be losing streaks, all of those types of things. What is the one thing that you want to see all year long to know that this team is legit?
Just be consistent in how they started right now. That's what I really want. And stay healthy. Health. Please stay healthy. That has been our biggest problem is health. I believe if we would have been healthy last year, we could have taken a run at the Celtics and would have been even unhealthy. We still played them better than anybody else in the playoffs. But I love that this coach is making sure that Evan Mobley is far more aggressive on offense, and he just like his three. He just seems so much more developed right now. Like you could see him taking a leap, and his 3-point shot looks better. The way their ball movement's been good. Keep that same defensive mentality that they had from last year with JB Bickerstaff, and they're going to be fine. It's. I'm not getting crazy like we're on a run to go 82-0, but we played some all right teams. Finally, a nice win over the Knicks. Love beating those clowns. How's your party going, New York? So, yeah, just keep it going, man. Stay healthy and let's keep it going and just get a little better every day.
Ryan?
Yeah, I think that my favorite thing right now is that Donovan Mitchell, it doesn't seem like he has to be the guy. It doesn't seem like he has to go out there and, lay his body on the line. Kind of like I feel like JB Bickerstaff had Donovan out there a lot last year. A lot of unnecessary, beating to where like when we got to the playoffs, when we got to some important games, like he was hurt. He was not, he was. I just feel like this year, like yesterday, Darius Garland went off. Evan Mobley went off in game 1. It's just the fact that any guy on any day could be the guy. I think that's really, really awesome. I think that I think the most important thing is trying to just reserve as much health for Donovan Mitchell for that playoff push as possible. And then if that, if things, it's a small sample size, but if things, continue to go this way, and as Jay said, injuries stay on our side, like we could see ourselves high seeded in the East and possibly contending for an NBA championship. This team is playing great. I'm excited to play against the Lakers too.
Yeah, like I'm just excited to watch basketball, just tune in. It's like I know some people still can't see it, even with it being FanDuel Sports Network outside of Bally's.
Do you have the app still, Kevin?
We have the app, yeah.
Is it working good?
It's working good, but we're also signed in.
It's working good, Kevin.
It's working good. No names, please.
Meanwhile, swerve to the bird.
But like again, it's fun basketball. And look, I can take if they get a 24-second shot clock violation, like I saw yesterday against New York, where a couple of the players should have taken a shot because they're open, and Dean Wade gets it, and he's got a second left on the shot clock. He passes the DG, and they don't get it off. Like, I want them to continue to think unselfish basketball and moving the ball. Do they need to make sure that doesn't become a problem where they're getting constant 24-second violations? Yes. But if you're getting one here and there because you're moving the basketball, it's popping between hands to hands to hands. The ball gets energy when you move it faster by the pass than the dribble. So none of this stanky leg. If you have to get into a grinded out game, which they kind of did yesterday. I mean, they've been scoring over 130 points. And that game was low scoring for a while. And then they, were able to turn it on with DG in the fourth quarter. They're showing a little bit that they can play in different ways. Again, it's way too early to say like how good they are. You probably need to go. I've heard, 2 months for baseball is, you would compare that to like 20 games, 25 games in the NBA to then know what a team actually is. So everything is well and good right now. What happens after they lose a game? Is it just a bump in the road? Does it cause more? There's going to be ebbs and flows. We're still in October, and they don't start the playoffs until April of 2025. There's still 2 months left of 2024, plus a couple days here in October. Then you still got to go 4 months into 2025 before they're ready to play the playoffs. So, enjoy the ride, Cleveland. I know this team is going to be judged on the playoffs. I know that, and I'm going to judge them that way. But it doesn't mean that you can't also enjoy what's happening in the regular season. That's the way it goes. What? You want to say something?
He said, "Wrap this show up, fool. I'm trying to go to bed."
Come here. Oh no, you don't want to be on camera? Can you say night-night to everybody? I love you. Yes, that's my son Lincoln off in the corner. He's about to be a year and a half on Friday. So
it's crazy. My kids get to bed at 6 p.m. It's crazy.
Oh, this guy doesn't. Yeah, going to bed at 6
My kids get up at 4:30 though. So.
Oh, this guy still gets up at 4:30. Yeah.
So, that's why we put him to bed early, because no matter what, he gets up at 4:30.
So parents out there, they feel what we're going through. But I think that is the perfect point to wrap everything up here. Lakers are in town as the show is airing. We're recording the day before. I know it'll be a good moment for LeBron and Bronny. I'm sure they have something set up for Bronny to get in the game with his dad here in Cleveland, where he grew up, where he was idolized and still idolized to this day. I got my LeBrons just on the other side of my LeBron shoes on the other side of my computer here.
To your point earlier, Kevin, is he playing because of nepotism? Yes.
Yes.
Do I care?
No.
Not one bit. Guess what? When you're LeBron James and you did what you did for the NBA, you could do whatever you want pretty much, dude. And he's not that bad. He's actually a damn good defender. He's going to develop, but
he's going
to be a great G League player.
Yeah. But dude, one day he probably will be a role player, but till now, let's just enjoy what's going on.
And guess what? The Lakers did good business, because what are you getting out of LeBron outside of yesterday? I know he had his worst paint shooting game since 2003 when his rookie year. But what are you getting? You're getting a rejuvenated guy in his 22nd season, about to turn 40 in December. You're getting that guy that is still jumping out of the gym and getting the most out of.
It's like getting when you got an old dog, right? The best way to make an old dog young again, bring a pup in, and that it'll rejuvenate a dog like nothing other, and it's what he's doing to him.
Yeah. So it's great business by the Lakers to get as much out of LeBron before he hangs him up as possible. And it's time for us to hang up this edition of The Voice of the Land. Again, we want to thank our partners with Greeny Sports Cards. Check them out, Greeny Sports Cards, on social media. They go live every Tuesday. GreenySportsCards.com for all the latest on all the shows that they have, everything that they can provide, and just how they interact with people and get the sports cards and even pop culture memorabilia, how they bring those together at times as well. So for Ryan Mosser, Peter Tulp, who you can't see or even hear tonight, so audio has been shut down for the night. Always Positive J. I'm Kevin Arnold, reminding all of you sports fans, don't let anyone ever tell you it's just a game. We truly love you all 3,000, including you, Jim Donovan, and your family. We send our best, our condolences to all of you. Jay?
Don't talk about it. Be about it.
Jim Harbaugh eats his boogers.
Yeah, nobody likes a cheater, but live life all gas, no breaks. We'll see you next time right here, probably all together in the studio on The Voice of the Land, the Big Play Be On Air Podcast Networks, partner with LPV Productions.